Okay, well, we got to get going, but anyway, I
Yeah.
just said, what does NOTA stand for? And then I put brewing. Uh, anyway, all right. Are we ready?
Oh, it's a neighborhood in Charlotte.
Okay. Ah, that's it.
All right.
There we go.
So the Noda Brewing Company is the neighborhood in Charlotte.
North Davidson.
Is in the North Davidson neighborhood.
That's
so,
right.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of like Tribeca. Triangle below canal.
Yes.
There you go.
Ah,
Okay. Are we ready?
I think so.
We ready to start this
Yeah.
party?
All right, we are live on YouTube. Hello, everybody.
Woo! All right.
And then
The Sunday Morning Linux Review, starring Mary Talmadge, Tony Venus, and Matt Enders as the Beaver.
and I am Tony Bemis,
Matt Enders.
And Mary Tomich.
and this is episode 132.
Brews. Or brew.
Brews. Or brew, yeah. I like brews because
More.
our excellent friend of the show, Brent, said he was going to send us some beer. He has sent us some beer. He sent me a special brew. He sent me Hop, Drop, and Roll. I think it was an 81 IBU when I looked it up, so I'm assuming it's going to be definitely hoppy enough. I'm going to taste it for the first time right now.
Drum roll, please.
Oh. That is the best mother effing IPA I have ever had. And it's good cold. No, seriously. A lot of IPAs are only good at warmer temperatures, like 40, even 45 degrees, some of them. That's when they really taste good.
Mm.
Okay.
But this is, I'd have to say at least like 35, like chilled to American
And
refrigeration temperature rather than like European. And it's got an excellent flavor.
and it's 7.2%.
Oh,
Alcohol
well,
by volume.
most IPAs are higher in alcohol because they were made this way to be higher in alcohol volume so that they would survive the trip all the way to India and remain fresh. That's why they're called India Pale Ales.
Oh.
Oh, wow. We have a beer podcast going.
But no, it's got such a citrusy end to it.
And it's got a car on it, too. I mean,
It does.
Next weekend is the Dream Cruise, which for anyone who's not familiar with that, it's this event where you get 1 million people come out to see these wonderful cars, all kinds of cars.
I can't believe they don't put citrus in this. As citrusy as the end is on this. It's just from the hops, and it is incredible.
So,
Hop, Drop, and Roll
okay.
from Noda Brewery, which, anyway, Mary discovered for us where Noda in the Noda Brewery comes from.
That's right. It's short for North Davidson, and that's a popular arts district in Charlotte, North Carolina. And Noda was coined by architect Russell Pound. So there you have it.
All right.
All right.
Well, I guess we'll move on to just our regular things that we do this time.
Yeah.
And what we did.
Yes. What'd you do this week, Mary?
Well, I did a couple things. I found and tested another file sync utility. This one is K-Folder Sync, and I'm going to go into further detail about it during the KDE. Yeah, I guess you guessed, right? It's a KDE app.
Not only a folder syncing app, which Mary loves these folder syncing apps, but it's a KDE folder syncing
It's
app.
KDE, because I'm a KDE fangirl. Unlike Tom Duchesne, who isn't.
Well, Tom Duchesne's not really a fangirl for anything.
That's true. But anyway, so I did that, and that was kind of fun. And then I also tested this very cool command line presentation tool, which we took a look at, called TPP. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, but I had a chance to install it. I think it's got some dependencies on Ruby in the background, but it's really cool. You put together this file. There's some notation that you've got to use in order to have something appear as a title and centered, that type of thing. But it's a command line based presentation tool that is really slick. So
It does look. It looks very cool.
yeah,
It,
so
it did. It looked. I'm definitely going to explore the possibilities.
yeah, you can make text kind of fly in. I mean, again, it's your typical command line text, but it can drop from the top and line up like bullets.
Well, it had color to it.
And color,
the text that you were
Yep.
showing us.
It's very geeky, and it's
Very
cool.
geeky.
I think
Yeah.
if I do a presentation at PenguCon this next year, I'm going to do it in that.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm doing at least 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, but it's called TPP, and it was in the Ubuntu repository. I was even able to install it on my FreeBSD laptop, although I ran into a problem when I attempted to run it. So it was some kind of undefined something or other. I'll have to do a little checking on that, but worked really well.
How did you install it on BSD?
I used the package install.
And it was available right
Oh yeah.
right in the repositories?
Yes. So,
But when you tried to run it, it had an error?
yeah, it was an error which.
Well, then my suggestion to you is instead of using package
just
install.
don't use BSD.
No. Instead of using package install, use ports, and then it'll build it right on your system for you.
Oh, you know, Matt, that's a great idea. I appreciate that because that didn't occur to me, and I think you suggested that in the past.
That's why Matt gets paid the big bucks.
That's right. That's right. That's why Matt gets all the beer. It's on the
Okay.
closest to the door.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's kind of what I did. So who's next?
Yeah.
I'll tell you. Regular expressions.
Oh, I'm a fan. I'm in awe of regular expressions.
Oh yeah? Which engine?
I don't know how to do them. I'm just in awe of them.
Because there are many, many different regex engines.
I didn't know that.
There are.
Really? Yeah, I didn't know that either.
There's POSIX. And guess what? POSIX has 2. They have BRE and ERE.
Oh, positive.
And then there's PCRE, which is the Perl compatible regular expression engine. And
What is that? All right. Here's the question. What does the engine do? It parses, or
it
parses
it's how
the command that you put together?
but they'll take different wildcards and things like that, and the way you do some things are a little different. So you just have to. I was reading all this week about different regular expressions and how to build regular expressions, and I've been on a regular expression kick for a while, and I was trying to improve my regular expression ability.
It's like my folder sync kick.
Yeah, kind of. but it's an in-depth topic. I can believe there is no one individual that understands regular expressions completely.
Yeah, you know, everything I heard, every time somebody talks about regex, that they have to have their book next to them every time they go to use it, or whenever they go to change up.
I use regex every day in grep mostly.
Yeah.
I use it a little in sed and stuff, but mostly in grep. And in grep, you can either use BRE or ERE or PCRE, depending on the flag you give it.
So how is that set up then? You do something and then you grep it to the regex engine? Or
well, no, when you're grepping,
I know what grep is, basically.
Right.
But.
Say you wanted to grep and use ERE, the extended regex.
Okay, say I did.
The extended POSIX regex. You would use grep dash uppercase E, and then it will use and then what you're searching for is you use the regex statement there, and then the file.
I'm so used to using grep after I do something to grep something
else.
Oh
yeah, well if you're piping into it, then it would be grep uppercase E dash uppercase E, your regex, and then that's it because you've piped the input to it.
Okay.
Because that's what I do every day.
Okay. I don't do that at all. Nowadays.
But I really want to learn the PCRE because a lot of different things use the PCRE, such as like PHP uses the PCRE engine. So.
Is this now? Are these engines just automatically built in, or do you have to install the engine?
No.
Or...
This is what PHP has chosen to use.
Okay.
It's part of
so when you install
PHP on a system, it comes with it.
I gotcha. Okay.
It's what PHP has chosen to use.
So I probably no, I don't think I have used it. I played around with PHP, but I've never done regex with it. So.
All right.
Well, thanks, Matt.
I had a regex week.
I think you did.
Yeah,
That's
it sounds
cool.
like it. Yeah.
All right, Tony. How do you top that?
I don't know. Well, I upgraded my own cloud. The new version of OwnCloud sounds really cool. So I upgraded. I don't use a lot of the features that the new stuff does, but it gives me the ability that when I find somebody else that has an OwnCloud, then I can start using it. Like the cool thing is that you can do folder sync and folder sharing between servers now, straight between servers, not with an individual user, which is really cool. So if I know somebody else running their own cloud, then I can share a folder on mine to their own cloud, and then it just shows up in their file system.
You would have to have a user and a password all set up on that other OwnCloud server.
Yeah, probably. But what the process in the past was is that like if I shared, you had your own server, Matt, and you're used to logging in, Matt, at mattsoncloud.com, and I have mine, and it's Tony at tonysoncloud.com. Well, you would have to come over. You'd have to log off of your own cloud, go to Tony.
I'd have to log off of it. I wouldn't just be able to open something else and log into yours.
You could probably open a separate browser, but you wouldn't, or like an incognito or Firefox instead
Really,
of Chrome.
it was that.
And you'd have because it uses cookies. It's just not a tab. So you'd have to log off or use a different browser to then log into mine, get that file, open it up, work on it, then put it back, and then log out and go back to yours. Well, now with the server sync, it just shows up in your own cloud, and we can share and contribute together or whatever. So it's really cool.
That is very nifty.
Yeah. And it's really simple to do upgrades for OwnCloud. But Mary, were you gonna say something?
No, I was playing around with my keyboard, and there's that undefined symbol. It's STR2, something to caster. I don't know, STR2 CSTR, and it's in that. I guess it's in that file. That .so file. That's what I got. So, just to show you what it was.
It's something with end curses.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. But anyway, so Tony,
so the problem's with the end curses, not with
end curses bin.
Yeah, it's so the problem's in end curses.
Okay.
It's not in your presentation program. Your presentation program is using end curses to build the display.
Yes.
And so the problem's in end curses, not in your presentation program.
Well, then I'm going to go ahead and build it from scratch, or build it from ports, like you said.
Right, but the problem still might exist because it's in end curses.
Yeah, you'd have to rebuild. You'd have to reinstall or rebuild end curses.
Right.
Oh my gosh, this sounds like a production now. I'm going back to LibreOffice and Press.
All right. Well, and then we're moving along, getting a new house. We're starting to pack up, put things in boxes, and clean extra things.
You mean our recording studio that will also have your house?
That's right. And so hopefully we'll have one more show here after this, and then we'll be in the new studio.
All right.
Yeah.
And then you start school.
That's right. And then, the other thing is I'm starting school, so our record time Saturday morning will have to change.
Will we go back to Sunday morning?
That's a possibility, or we can do it some other day. We have to talk about that. We haven't worked that out yet.
Yeah.
But
we'll work it out offline.
Yeah.
Well, the other days we have to be careful with too. So.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep.
And we'll let everyone know ahead of time.
Yeah. All right.
So
I think that's it. Do we want to bust into our new brews now, or do you want to do it in another segment?
I think we should hold off till I'm done enjoying my new favorite IPA ever.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if they sell that.
I don't know. I've got to find it.
Merchants in Dearborn, they have all sorts of beers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should check them out.
Well, I'm sure online there's at their website.
Do they have like a fresh buy or drink before or enjoy before?
They sell this so fast.
Or stagger before?
They sell this so fast that it's never gonna. Yeah.
It
His
doesn't get
the
old.
only way he
It
was
ships
able to
fast.
the only way he was able to get this one can was his brother-in-law works at the brewery.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Because as soon as it's produced, it's all spoken for by local taverns.
Wow.
Wow.
Now you think they'd expand production a little bit, but maybe when
Maybe
you
they can't.
I was going to say maybe trying to do that, then introduce some negatives to the
Right.
process.
Yeah, to the process. Also, to be a microbrew, you can only brew so many
Yeah.
a year.
Well, that depends
So-
on your state laws.
Oh yeah, that must be a Michigan thing then.
That makes
But-
sense though, because that will keep somebody like Miller Lite from becoming a microbrewer
Yeah.
under their own name.
But they can imitate them. And
Right.
they do. Like I forget who
Shot
makes
Top.
it. Yeah, and Blue Moon.
Yeah.
It's so.
Yeah. As long as it doesn't say Miller Lite on it.
All
All right.
right.
Well, I guess we're cruising.
Yep. Moving on to
Matt, what's happening with the Colonel?
The distros.
no.
No.
I didn't mean the distros. I don't know why I said the distros.
I
meant
think
the-
Pop, Drop, and Roll had something to do with that.
I meant the Colonel.
Hey, Colonel of 7.2? Is
Yeah,
that right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So the main line
I
is
want to
at
bust out laughing,
the-
but I won't.
Right.
the main line is at 3.16, released on 8.3. The newest stable release is 3.15.9, released on 8.7. And then long-term kernel 3.14.16, released on 8.7. Long-term kernel 3.12.26, released on 8.1. And long-term kernel 3.10.52, released on 8.7. Long-term kernel 3.4.102, released on 8.7. And long-term kernel 3.2.62, released on 8.6.
You know, Mr. Torvalds released, I think it was a stable release that he released this week, one of those, I think.
Torvalds doesn't release stable
Or
releases.
somebody did. Somebody did over there in Linux land. But what I want to tell you is that, you know how they put names to these things?
Yes.
I saw the name for the one that was released this week. Shuffling Zombie Juror.
Wow.
Shuffling zombie juror.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
I thought, well, I don't want to be on trial in that court. Anyway, Matt, thank you for sharing the kernel releases with us.
Yes, thank you. All right.
Tony, what's going on with the Linux distributions this week?
All right, and starting up this week, we're on the 27th. 727 is
Yeah.
we have Salix 14.1 OpenBox. And being OpenBox as their window manager, it's lightweight Slackware-based distro with, like I said, with OpenBox.
Yeah.
OpenBox. Let's say it a few more times. OpenBox.
All right. Well, and one thing they did with this release is they said that they tuned it so that would be lightweight and fast. So that's why they've got Midori as their default browser and Claus Mail. Every time I see that, I always think Santa Claus. But anyway, and then Wicked is their network manager. They also had a couple of multimedia apps that they put in place too. One called WHAW, WHAAW, which I've never heard of. And then that's a media player. And then they've got something called Exaile, EXAILE, which is a very capable, according to them, music collection manager. And then one thing they do include too are the Salix Codex installer, so that it makes it very easy to install restricted codecs.
Oh.
But you didn't hear me say that.
Well, it's on the user to accept the agreement.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
Thanks for that reminder, Tony.
All right. On the 30th, we have BioLinux 8.0.2, and they're a Ubuntu-based distro with a collection of software for bioinformatics. Now, I don't know if I've seen this before. I mean, they're 8.2, so I know they're not very new, but
Yeah,
that's
they've
kind of cool.
yeah they've been I've seen them on DistroWatch before. Um, they have they've also got a live DVD and USB stick version, and they said that well, obviously the USB version will allow you, or the DVD live will allow you to run it without, or just to try it out if that's what you really want to do. Um, so, and they also mentioned too on their website that a virtualized BioLinux will power the EOS cloud, which is in development for launch in 2015.
Hmm. EOS Cloud?
Yeah,
I wonder what that is.
haven't you heard of that?
It's cloudy.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah, we've been talking about clouds.
um, as Mary's looking that up, should we go on to the next?
Yeah, we're going on to the next.
All right. We have on the 30th also, we have Zorin OS 9 Educational. And Zorin we've talked about in the past a lot. They're based on Ubuntu, and this is their educational package.
Yeah, they actually, and they were kind of tooting their little birthday horns there on the website because it's been and this was from July, but they've been out for 5 years. Um, and their big goal, of course, was, as they termed it, was to create an operating system that was secure and enjoyable to use without requiring you to face the friction of moving away from an interface you know. Which, if
Mm.
you boil that all down, basically says, hey, you can make this look like anything you want. Remember, because that's the one that has that Zorin. It's got that Zorin utility that you can select. It'll look like Windows XP. It'll look like Windows 7. It'll look
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mac or whatever. And that
Cool.
they basically just reskin the interface. So
Right.
yeah, but it kind of cracked me up the way they said that. So.
Nice.
hmm
All right. On the 31st, we have Simplicity Linux 14.7. It's a lightweight puppy-based distro in 4 editions.
Yeah, they and actually they had an early release program. Um, it was kind of unfortunate because apparently it wasn't out one day when they had to go back and kind of reconfigure it because the MD5s were mismatched for one of their downloads.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, so people they were trying to make some sense of that, and apparently with this early access, if you paid a little bit of money, you had early access to it, and that was available for about a day, and they again pulled it back, had to fix it. Um, they also their netbook edition has a features an assistant that's called Kay Says, and they say it's a little bit like Siri, so hopefully she gives better
Oh.
directions than Siri gave. Um, but and they're even though this is 14.7, they indicated they're already hard at work on 14.10. So I'm not sure what's happening to 14.8 and 14.9, but 14.10 is the next one that you guys can expect to see.
All right.
So there you have it.
And the next one that we have up is Solid XK 14 or 2014-07, which is the updated of their project
hmm
with XFCE and KDE, meaning the XK, and based on Debian's testing.
Yeah, they what they mention here too is they've got Samba on by default in this particular edition, and they said it causes and that is causing no significant improvement in boot time, which I thought was kind of an interesting comment or a little unusual. But they said if you're really into optimizing boot time, you can start by analyzing the output of these commands, and one of them is called systemd-analyze space blame.
Oh, so we're gonna blame
Yeah,
System D on it, huh?
yeah, something. But I thought that was kind of interesting. And this particular release, the multimedia repository, that's the Deb multimedia, has been removed from the ISOs. So they've added some multimedia packages and codecs um, that may not be legal in your country to use, but they just want you to check before you install.
All right.
So okay.
All right, next up we have IP Fire 215 Core 80. which is a new stable edition for the Linux firewall distribution. And you know what? Actually, I think they have another one after that because I was just looking at my IP firewall this morning,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, 81 is available now. So
Oh,
it must not have been. I don't know when it was released, but I don't think it hit the list on here.
probably not yet. Maybe it's in the. Maybe they just got it this morning and.
Yeah, maybe.
Excuse me.
The updates for those core updates are really
Uh-huh.
easy. They have a iPack
Okay.
system where you just hit upgrade and it downloads it and verifies everything and installs it,
Mm-hmm.
and then a lot of times you reboot and that's good to go.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, you get the latest updates and it's done automatically. No command line
I
or
like
anything you have to
automatic.
do. It's all
Except in my
web-based.
cars, I like sticks. So.
I was going to make a comment about a new country song that's out, but I'm not going to.
All right.
I know where that's going, man.
No, it's before the world went automatic, and no, never mind.
Would it elicit political discussion?
No.
Oh, okay. Is it naughty?
No.
Okay. All right.
It just didn't really fit.
I was going to say, that was my next question. Does it have something to do with a firewall?
No.
All right, then. Oh. All right, well, anyway. Oh, by the way, too, they put a new tool to update dynamic DNS records. They've written one.
Oh.
They said that it replaces, and I don't know, Tony, if you've used this, maybe you're familiar with it, what they've termed the old faulty and hard to maintain Perl script, which was setddns.pl. So it's written in Python, according to information that the project released, and it's also portable to other distributions as well. So that sounds kind of nice.
Now,
Yeah, it does sound like.
Yes.
when it did that, it wasn't using DynDNS like a
No.
service.
No, and as a matter of fact, they've updated the support for DNS providers, the providers that don't exist anymore or that no longer provide the free service. Because DynDNS, I went there this morning to check because it's listed here as one that's been removed, and some new ones have been added. Let's see, yeah. So DynDNS no longer provides that free service.
Oh.
Right. Yeah, mine dropped. And then you know what? When I was looking for a replacement, because I used DynDNS for a long time.
I did too.
And when I looked for a replacement, I went back to my registrar one day and I was looking through it. My registrar gives DNS support also. Like they'll do my DNS service. They also do dynamic DNS.
Oh, really?
So I just grabbed one of my domains I already had, created another subdomain, and stuck it in my IP Fire, and everything was going.
Excellent.
So I have. It's free. There's no additional cost other than registering your DNS, your domain with them.
Oh,
and
wow.
I use Namecheap.com.
Namecheap.
Yeah, it's
This
cheap.
part of the show brought to you by Namecheap. Namecheap.com.
For
Not
all your
really.
For all your
Domain naming
name
needs.
registering needs.
Right.
Hey, let's send them this clip. They'll give us $1. Okay.
So I never had a problem with that in the
That
past.
was
It
native
always seemed to work.
advertising.
You're right.
It's how Stephen Colbert does it. Have you ever watched his show? He was talking about chicken, and he brings out this big tub of Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it was very funny.
Did you Did you see my post on G Plus this week about native advertising and that rant that comedian went on? It was probably funny.
Oh no.
I didn't see it. I saw it, but I didn't look at it.
It was pretty funny.
Was it? I'll have to go back and look at it. Okay.
All right. Yeah, but I haven't had a problem with it. It seems to work fine with me, but it sounds like it's on their maintaining side of that the scripts. And what I've read in the past, what they're doing is they're rewriting the entire UI to go away from what you said. What was it, Perl before, and now they're moving to Python.
Python.
And there's quite a few scripts in there that won't allow them to go to IPv6. So that's why they have to completely rewrite the UI to get it to work.
I'm taking a Python course.
Are you? All right.
Yeah. I haven't been into the site for about a month, so I better get back there.
Okay,
Right.
define taking then. I have looked at in the past.
Yeah.
Is Mary's definition of taking?
No, they have little exercises that you do and everything, and then you can look up answers. And,
So,
all right.
having completed a few exercises in the past, Is Marion.
Hey,
Yeah, that's me.
all right, continue on.
Dilettante, I think, is the word, Matt.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
All right, we have on the 5th we have Porteous 3.0.1, which is a lightweight Slackware based for live CDs.
Yeah. And they mentioned that this is primarily a bug fix and security update. So they didn't really include any new features, but they also indicated they're expecting the first release candidate for Porteous 3.1 to be available in early October. Um, and by the way, too, I went out to their site, and I may have talked about this when they were on the list last time, but you can customize an ISO, a Porteous ISO, specific to your needs by going to http://build.porteous.org, and it's very nice. There, you've got two methods. You can go the simple route, or the easy route, or the advanced route.
Mm.
And with the advanced route, that gives you the opportunity to uh, further customize it, maybe like things maybe in your Etsy file, that kind of thing. You go through and you just press these buttons. So it does sound kind of dumbed down, but it's really pretty cool. You can move through it pretty quickly, and then the output of it, it kind of is like SUSE build service, if you've ever used that or seen
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's similar to that, and I liked it.
That is cool.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll paste that in the show note, or excuse me, in the show notes in the chat for anyone who's interested. Okay.
All right. Next up is Knoppix 7.4.0.
Oh yeah.
Well, Knoppix has been around for a long time. They're Debian-based live CD, and they use by default it's LXDE, but it has GNOME and KDE also. And I didn't know that they had the other ones available.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, they do. The KDE version that is available, and again, this is an option you can select at boot time. They're using KDE 4.8.4, so it's a slightly more mature edition of KDE, but still, it's certainly has, I think, most of the features that a typical user would want. And I think this particular, oh, by the way, their DVD, and this is just goes to show you how much that project crams on it. It's got over 3,500 software packages and over 9 gigs when it's decompressed.
Mm,
And they is it C loop or Cloop? How is
I
that
don't
pronounced?
know.
Okay, it's C loop compressed to 4 gigs, so it'll fit on a DVD. But that's huge.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So
Wow. Yeah. 9 gigs down to 4 gigs. That is pretty good.
yeah, and that's the granddaddy of live CDs.
All right. All right. The next up we have on the 8th is Ubuntu 12.04.5. So
Is
it's
that
an
on the 8th?
update.
Oh yeah, it was on the 8th.
Yeah, it was an update to the LTS, which what do they have 3 years of support for LTS, or is it 5?
Something like
I
that.
can't remember.
I have to say I can't remember either.
So if you're
Embarrassing.
running your old LTS still, there's an update for, I'm sure it's security patches.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and the last on the list we have on the 9th is Android x86 4.4.
Mm-hmm.
This is an unofficial port of Google's Android for x86 processors.
I've installed it.
Have you?
Yeah. It looks like an Android phone on your computer. I mean,
Oh.
it looks very similar to that. From what I can recall, this was a while ago, and so I'd be interested to see how this one looks. But it was kind of, some of the stuff was a little clunky, just because on a small screen like a phone, it looks good, but when you put it up on a big screen, it's got a little.
It's kind of like too big of buttons, which you used
Yeah,
to.
from what I can recall. But this one, they may have done some different things as
Yeah.
far as the display.
I remember playing with a really early version of this, like 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, and it was didn't work very well at that time. But I'm sure they've done a lot of work. Like I said, it's been a long time, and
Yeah, I
that's
would
cool.
think so.
And it may have just been the hardware I was using. I was using a weird old tablet.
I was using a
Window-
regular PC.
Oh yeah, well it was a PC tablet,
Okay.
from like 1995. No, maybe not that old.
Was it a Windows PC tablet?
But I think it was from 2000
Okay.
or 2001 something. It was really old, like 10 years old, and
That
yeah,
is
it originally it was a Windows tablet,
Okay.
and so I tried to put Android on it. But yeah,
How'd that work for you?
not very well.
All right.
Anyway, so now we're going on to the top 5 of the week.
Yes.
All right, at number 5 we have Open Sushi.
We're going on to what? What did you say that we're going on to?
We're going, Matt, Mr. Enders, we're going on to the top 5, and that's FIVE.
Okay,
Distros.
just checking.
Okay.
All right, so that's Open Sushi is with 1066.
And trending up.
1066. Think about it. What happened in 1066? Wasn't the Battle of Hastings?
A lot of people died.
The Battle of Hastings.
I have no idea.
In
Black Plague. I really don't
Anglo-Saxons.
know.
What is it? The Anglos and the Saxons. They were fighting there in England. The battle.
Oh,
Yay.
okay.
Harold of Hastings.
Yay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mary. All
Mary, our resident Anglophile.
All right, number 4 in 4th place we have Arch with 1104.
And trending down.
I didn't see that coming. Arch. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And number 3 we have Debian with 1434.
And trending down.
And the number 2 spot is Mint with 2027.
Yeah, gotta love that minty goodness, and it's trending down.
And in the number 1 spot is Ubuntu with 2108.
And trending up.
I'm living, even though I'm running Kubuntu, I'm living vicariously through that. I'm way down at 26. And then, of course, PCBSD is it's down there on the list somewhere. It takes me too long to find it. So. Oh, there it is, 76, and trending up.
You know, there's this nifty little thing, Mary, when you're in the web browser there.
Oh,
If you hit Control F.
I think you've told me that.
Okay.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot. But one thing I want to mention, speaking of PCBSD, is that they have that weekly podcast, BSD Now, and this particular episode was a tour through PCBSD 10.0.2. So I found that to be pretty interesting. Okay. Well, what are we on to next?
Next up is...
It's time for the tech news of the week.
The news?
The news. I've got
news?
no news stories.
No news. We're supposed to be a news podcast. We don't have news. Oh no.
I was too busy with Red Jacks this week.
Hey, that's all right. I got plenty of news. By the way, and this is about a week old, but I still found it to be a very interesting story. And I think that lawsuit got filed after we had our last podcast, because you remember, Microsoft.
Oh, is this the Samsung stopped paying?
Yes, they did.
Yes.
Oh.
They said, F you, Microsoft. Good on you, Samsung.
That's right.
Well, and I've read several articles about it, and including an article by Stephen J. Von Nichols. And what's really interesting is that Nokia also had Nokia or Samsung and Nokia had, I guess there was some kind of an agreement there. And so what Samsung, there's some thinking that Samsung is probably saying that they probably had a better deal for the patent agreement, the licensing fee than Samsung got. I think when Samsung was had it with Nokia, as I recall. So what they're saying is that, if you're still following me.
I think I'm following you. I may be
it's,
wrong.
Yeah, no, I know, I'm just all over the place with this. But in my excitement, I think it's sort of, I'm sitting next to that beer and I'm starting to get a little giddy. But no, it had to do with, or at least the idea is that they got a better deal, and so they don't want to pay Microsoft because Microsoft, the deal is not as good. As far as the licensing fees they have to pay. But one thing I didn't realize is that, last week, or maybe it was a couple of weeks ago, China released the list of patents that Microsoft had been using as part of their Android.
Really?
Yes.
So we have a complete list now.
Yes, there's 300 and.
Yeah, well, they would only ever sue each company like for 2 or 3 of them at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So you would never be able to know what they had up their sleeve.
So. Yes. So what they're saying is, in some people's mind, this could be the start of the end because now once that became known, you can
Oh,
imagine.
those licensing fees were BS from the beginning.
Oh,
Yeah, I agree.
the estimates were from between $1 and $2 billion a
They
year.
were making more on that licensing fee than they were
Yes.
on Windows licenses.
Yep. So it is going to be very interesting if this does find its way to court.
It will, because I don't think Samsung's backing down.
No, I don't think so. And when you think about the position they're in now versus probably when they initially signed that agreement a few years ago, the Android platform is just
It's huge.
been
It's the platform.
meteoric, the rise. Yeah, it is the platform. So, that particular lawsuit I found very interesting, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it. But I'm going to have a link to several articles that talk about it, including Stephen J. Von Nichols' article, because he had an interesting take about it, and he also included some quotes from Andy Updegrove, who's a founding partner of Gesmer Updegrove, top intellectual property tech law firm. So anyway, but we'll see. So I've got other news stories if anyone's interested.
Nah.
Anyone?
Yeah, of course.
Uh, did you know now?
No, Mary, tell me.
All right, I will. Um, First of all, I think we saw recent news stories. We may have even talked about it about Chromebook versus Windows.
Oh, yeah, and
You know,
the
we
Chromebook is totally kicking butt.
It is, but not
Yeah.
only this, um, the Chromebook. Some schools they got an iPad. They got iPads for the students, and what they're finding is that some of them have turned them back in for a Chromebook because the iPad has this aura of being kind of a game and playing and this type of thing, where a Chromebook has more of a work-oriented look to it. And so I think there have been at least 4 school districts that have opted to go to a Chromebook from an iPad.
Wow.
Yeah, excellent. The Chromebooks in the education field are really, really taking off because I get a lot of emails from the company I used to have, which is now defunct.
Mm-hmm.
But
Interested in Chromebooks?
well,
Wanted to
I
know
get a
about
lot
it?
of I get a lot of emails from the education sector, different trade groups and things like that, and they're really taking off. It's like becoming the hot thing right now in education.
Yeah. Well, the price point is very
Yes.
reasonable. It's got just a good set of apps that students need. Makes sense to me.
And if you use because uh, Google Apps will do K-12 education for free. You know how, like, if your corporation, like the company I work for, uses Google Apps,
Mm-hmm.
so we can collaborate on documents and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're an a K-12 educational institution,
Mm-hmm.
you can use that for free with Google Apps.
Wow, it's
Mhm.
kind of like their Internet Explorer being bundled with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Back in the
getting
day.
the kids hooked on
Yep.
Google Apps, and
Yep.
it works. It
Yep.
works, and so more power to them. And I hope it crushes that Microsoft monopoly.
Hey, well, well, speaking of Microsoft, I do have another bit of news about them. Well, of course, we all know the debacle that was Windows 8.
Oh,
Did you know that I think they pulled the update for 8.1 in Patch Tuesday? I saw an article that they apparently were going to release it and they pulled it back.
I thought
One of the
that wasn't
patches did.
recently. That was
It was a few weeks ago,
I thought that
maybe?
was a couple of weeks ago.
It could have been,
That
but that's not
happened.
my story.
Oh, okay.
That's just a,
Just tease us, Mary.
yeah, that was the hors d'oeuvre. But anyway, you're giddy over there. All right, I'm ready for
It's
my
got
beer.
7.2.
Okay, but anyway, Windows 8 had on the right side, they had this little panel that would come out with these charms on it. I believe it's called charms, and one of them I thought was the start button, but there were these other little things, these little activities you could do or actions you could take, and this panel would come out. Again, it was just stupid. Charms are going to be killed off in Windows 9, apparently.
Really?
Yes, they're going to kill
Well,
off.
I heard the whole start button and everything's coming back in Windows 9.
Oh, well. I mean,
it was the most ridiculous thing ever.
it
And
was.
that Metro interface, here's the stupidest thing you've ever heard in your life. Windows Server 2012 has the Metro interface.
I did hear that.
You said that. I think you had said that on our last episode or
Yeah,
recently. But
because
isn't that
everybody
crazy?
puts a touchscreen on their server.
Oh yeah, my servers all have touchscreens on them.
Boy, I tell you, what a goofball. But here's another interesting thing about Windows 9. In addition to doing the proper thing and killing that Charms panel, they're going to be adding virtual desktops. Virtual desktops. Think about it.
Well, that was always back in even remember it on app
Oh,
that let
Yeah.
me have
Yeah,
multiple
there's been
desktops.
programs you can do multiple
well, this is
desktops.
going to be built in, kind of like how Linux has been
Yeah.
doing it for years.
Right. Actually, I had somebody at work ask me about it the other day. They said their previous job, they used them. They call it go screens, but it's so you can go from one thing to the other.
Oh, okay.
From one workspace to another. And I'm like, yeah, I know what that is. It's been in Linux forever.
Yeah, so that was it. And I have the last news item I have, and this one I thought was very interesting. It came at the Black Hat keynote. There was the Black Hat convention, I think, out
Yeah.
in Vegas.
Yeah. Did you see the post I made yesterday?
Ooh, the only one I saw was that the Walmart shooting one.
Walmart. Oh, the one yeah. Which I replied to your.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, it was a screenshot of this noob who had bought a pineapple there and tried to run a pineapple at DEF CON, and how he got owned in like 5 seconds. And it was a screenshot of this guy saying, "Dude, you're at a Black Hat conference and you're really gonna try and run this with no experience? Give me a break. I own your stuff. It's all gone and trashed. Have a good life."
What is a pineapple?
I was going to ask that myself.
It's a man in the middle device to capture people's information over Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay. But if their information's encrypted, you're not going to see
If
it.
you're the man in the middle, you've got it all.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So
Okay, I see
and
what
they
you're
sell
saying.
that at Walmart?
No.
What?
Step away from the mic, Matt. Step away from the mic. All right.
I'm confused here. I
Okay,
guess.
Tony, let me explain to you what happened. And I'm so sorry. I think I am partially the reason why this.
You are totally responsible for that, Mary.
I am. I was waving my hand around like it needed a beer bottle, and so Tony very dutifully, and Tony, I'm grateful for this, was reaching back to get beer, so he was focused on that, and we had transitioned from the Matt's post from the Walmart one to this Black Hat convention, this pineapple
Oh.
thing. So the two are really not related.
I heard the transition, but I swear I thought you said, and he bought one at Walmart.
No,
and took
he
it
bought
to
it
Red
at
Hat.
DEF CON. He bought it at DEF CON from the
Yeah,
Hack 5
so,
table.
Anyway, which one do you want, Tony?
I don't know.
What are these? What are the two other brews that he's supplying?
We have-
Gaelic ale.
And we have a pale ale.
Ooh, I will actually take one of those pale ales.
I'm going to go with the Gaelic, if you don't mind, Mary.
I don't mind at all. I do
Yeah.
not drink
Well,
beer out of a
I'm gonna-
bottle. Do you have like a mug? You have a frosted mug?
A frosted mug.
I only frosted when I knew we were having beer.
All right, I'll drink out of the bottle. Hey, but I got this. I should drink this first, then do the news story. No, I won't do that. But anyway, Dan Gear, who's a well-known and respected digital security expert, and the CISO of In-Q-Tel, he was the only keynote speaker at the Black Hat USA conference. Now, in his address, he outlined a number of disparate steps and initiatives he sees as necessary to improving security. So here are a few of them, and these are kind of interesting. One is for the U.S. to buy all vulnerabilities. Now, he said.
Wait a minute. To buy all vulnerabilities.
Yes, I had to take a sip of beer before I.
Well, if we buy them up, then we can research them and
yes,
figure
if
out
we
what
make
they
them
are.
public and reduce to zero the inventory of cyber weapons that others have, I believe that exploitable software vulnerabilities are scarce enough, and that we corner the market, we can make a difference. So in other words, you pay 10 times more than what anyone else would for it. They're going to sell to you. Then it's no longer a secret. It's out there in the open, and I thought it was kind of an interesting idea. It's certainly outside the box thinking. He also said that there should be mandatory reporting. He said the U.S. Center for Disease Control is effective because it has mandatory reporting of communicable diseases. So even though you might go to a hospital which has privacy rules and all of that, if you've got chlamydia, when I say in general, no one here, if someone has chlamydia and goes to the hospital, I believe they're obligated to
Mary, I
report that.
thought my medical records were private.
I didn't see a thing. But anyway, they're obligated to report that to the Center for Disease Control so they can, I guess. I don't know if that's a good example.
Yeah, well, STDs they keep a database of
Yeah.
where they are and
Yeah,
who's
so
contracted
like
them.
bubonic plague, you'd have to report that. So if you had bubonic plague and went to the hospital for it.
The hospital would have to report
Oh,
that they had a case.
Yes, that's
Right.
Yes.
They
But that
don't-
information would not be tied to any one individual.
Right. They anonymize it and send it off of how many they've had of what.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then here's another one he had too. Source code and liability. He said, in the physical world, there is liability for products that fail. He suggested that software should have some form of liability, as there are for other products. The only two products not covered by liability are software and religion. But anyway, so he goes on. There's a few, just a few things. A couple other things. I won't go into the details, but I'll have a link to that article in the show notes. Again, I thought it was pretty interesting. And gentlemen, those are my news items.
Well, all right. Thank you very much, Mary.
Yeah.
You're
thanks.
welcome.
It's a lot of the times you come to our rescue, and without you, we'd have no show. And today was one of those days.
Hey, but somebody brought the beer, so I
Yes,
think
we are.
So Brent-
Mary and I are both trying this pale ale,
Carolina Brewing
Carolina
Company.
Brewing Company pale ale.
Not
It's
bad.
definitely got nowhere near the IBU of the hop drop and roll, and it's not that old. It's only a little over 3 months old,
Hmm.
but it's got a metal aftertaste. Are you getting that too, Mary?
No,
Okay.
you take it out of the. I would pour it from that tin cup you have. No, no, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not tasting that, but I'm not a
I was
connoisseur
thinking
of
it was.
IPAs.
I'm thinking it might have been just a metal flavor left on the rim of the bottle from the cap.
Oh,
I think so.
that may be it.
So,
But mine has.
but other than that, it did have a nice smooth flavor,
Mhm.
but nowhere near the IBU that I would prefer in a pale ale.
Mine has the nice bouquet of hops.
It is quite hoppy, but again, not as hoppy as the Hop Drop and Roll, my new favorite IPA.
I used to have a rule about drinking beer before noon. On
Only if you were going to drink more than one, right?
No, then I started playing softball, and then I started going to softball tournaments, and that rule got broken. But yeah, so.
I have no rule. I have a rule about drinking before like 11 o'clock at night because I usually don't get up until 8. So.
Okay. All right, I guess we're moving. I do KDE Corner.
Yes.
Oh, good. All right. Earlier in the show, I mentioned a utility that I had found and installed and tested called KFolderSync. And I found this to be really pretty slick little tool, especially for people who use KDE. Again, its dependency is KDE. Well, for some, that's a strength, but we won't go into that. This little tool has 6 different options for you. For example, they've got, and again, what you do is you open up the tool, you identify your source and your destination directories, and this is all done from a little GUI interface. So on the left side, you can, for example, do a synchronization, and that basically will make the destination directory identical to the respective sources. So it'll just do a one-for-one copy over.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
And then there's something called bilateral synchronization. Source directories and the respective destinations supplement each other with missing files. If conflicts are detected, only the ones with the latest modifications will be kept in both source and destination directories. They got a differential backup, which is delete nothing and overwrite old files. And in a couple of these instances, when I selected my backup preference, it created a little folder with all of the differences, so that not only were my files backed up, but for a couple of them, I had a little file created, a backup file with the information in it. It was very, very slick.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, and then there's an incremental backup, which is delete nothing and back up old files instead of overwriting them, which I think is one of the times when that was created. And then something called bilateral incremental backup. I won't go into the details there, but essentially if conflicts are detected, old files will be backed up before new ones take their place. And, and again, you can go in there and you've got your old file if you need it. I was very impressed with this. And then something called full backup, which is basically self-explanatory. You can run this as an item in your taskbar, in the task panel, I should say. They also have an option for running it in the background, which will put it in your system tray. Now, the only downside to this is that it's all manual. I had to take the actions myself. I think you could probably script something so that this is running in the background. Mm-hmm. And I'd be curious to see what tools are behind the scenes that this front end has glommed onto to create this nifty little tool. I do have a at least I thought I did. Maybe I didn't download it. I thought I did download it. But anyway, it's a nice little screenshot of this tool, but it just shows you what is going to be changed. You can see how many files. Very slick. Again, it's K-folder sync, so anyone who uses KDE and wants to check this out, I suggest that you do so. It's a very easy deb install. So a link to it will be in the show notes. And cool. The only other thing I got from the KDE corner is that Digicam 4. Where am I here? There we go. 4.2 was released last week. So that's just a really solid photographic editing and management tool. And 4.2 was released. So that's what I got for KDE Corner.
All right.
We got coming up, though.
All right. What?
Atwater Brewery.
Oh, yeah, on the 20th.
Yeah, you saw the Detroit Lions are heading.
I have asked for and already received the day off.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Tony?
I think I'll be there.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. You're going to need a break from all that moving stuff you'll be doing.
It'll be the break from my vacation.
Yeah, it'll be the break from his vacation.
Oh, okay.
I'll come back into the world of the electronics.
I think that's a perfect way to do it too, at a brewery.
At a brewery, that's right.
Where I can get some good of the, I tried a new pale ale this week also.
Yeah.
The Detroit Pale Ale from Atwater.
Oh, really? How is it?
Excellent.
Okay.
It had surpassed Dale's Pale Ale, which up until that point, Dale's Pale Ale from Oscar Blues Brewery, and I think it's in North Carolina. I think it's in the same place as these beers came from. But but anyway, Dale's Pale Ale from Oscar Blues had been my favorite pale ale of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was replaced this week by Detroit Pale Ale from Atwater, which, after having that hop, drop, and roll, it just...
Oh, your
it
pale ales are...
It pales
in comparison. Yeah, they're very good.
Pale ales in comparison.
That hop drop, that hop, drop, and roll is by leaps and bounds the absolute best pale ale I've ever had. I can definitely understand why it won that award.
It's orgasmic.
Yes, it is. Mary should be afraid. She's sitting next to me. But anyway.
Huh.
Wow,
I've just never heard you get so gushy over beer.
Well, that and my discovery of Aaron's script programmatic interface.
Oh, is that your tool, right?
Yes.
Well, I guess we better move on then.
Yeah.
Right, Matt?
Tools from the toolbox.
All right, it is the tool tip. And my tool tip this week, I was very, very excited about. At work, I actually jumped out of my seat and ran around the bullpen screaming like a little schoolgirl.
And let me tell you, before the show started, he was in here just cussing like a sailor in excitement and glee about it.
Yes, it is very exciting. For me, it was anyway. It was the end of a months-long search. It wasn't a steady search, or I probably would have found it sooner. It was one of those things like, man, this is really bugging me, and I'd work at it a little bit, and then
Put it
would
aside.
put it aside, and then it would something else would happen at work, and I would say, man, there's really got to be a way to do this, and I would go at it.
Yeah.
What I was trying to do was scriptographically parse.
Scriptographically.
My
I
word.
like that.
My word.
Yeah.
Scriptographically, because programmatically is a word, but
It's not the same.
it's not the same. It's not the same. So anyway, to scriptographically parse who is data. There is no standard in the output of who is data, and this is here. I'll read it right from Aaron's website. So I just had it here 1 second ago.
All right, call in the fillers.
Yeah.
While he finds it.
The text-based. This protocol is a simple text-based TCP protocol registered with the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority for well-known port number 43, RFC 3912. The most recent specification for the protocol does not define either data types or data formats. As a consequence, who is data varies from service provider to service provider is far from programmatic consumption, far from ideal for programmatic consumption. So they tell you right off the bat.
Yeah.
Not happening. If you want to programmatically parse who is data, good luck, buddy.
But
there's no
scriptographically, on the other hand.
And still, there's no good way to do it.
Uh-huh.
There's no good way. So Aaron took it upon themselves to provide an interface, and the Aaron.
Wait. Aaron is an organization, not a person.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a person that wrote a script for you.
No.
It's not ERIN.
It's ARIN. Aaron. The registrar.
Yeah.
It's
.org or
Aaron.net. www.aaron.net. ARIN.net. And they have an API for working with their interface scriptographically, or if you prefer, programmatically, for you programmers out there. But anyway, scriptographically, you can interact with it. And it would be located at, and these will be in the show notes if I ever write up show notes. But I plan on actually writing up show notes.
We got dinged for that.
I know.
I promptly put my stuff up.
Yeah.
And you can find this resource at www.aaron.net/resources/whois_api.html. And there's a bunch of stuff, but I was really interested on the data I wanted to extract was the CIDR. I wanted to be able to find out which network block a specific address came from, because I wanted to then be able to block that whole block. So to do that, I had to use the part of the API for IPs. So that would be and they have a RESTful web server. They have a couple of ways you can interact with it programmatically. One with a RESTful web server and one over port 443. And they specifically want you to use the RESTful web server. They say, this document describes the services Aaron provides to the general public for read-only access to Aaron's registration data. These services include a user-friendly website, and it gives the website, and a RESTful web service and nickname whois over port 43. And it says, for the purposes of programmatic consumption, Aaron recommends the use of the RESTful web service and strongly discourages the use of the nickname /whois port 43 service. So me being the responsible Netsian.
I was going to say the rascal that you are.
No. The responsible Netsian. I used their RESTful web service as opposed to their port 443. Port 43. I didn't even look at it. I don't know how the port 43 service gives you data back because they said, please don't use it. So I didn't even look at it. I please not used it.
All right.
Hey, Matt, I got a question
Sure.
for you.
Go ahead.
When you say restful, is that like stateful? Is that in other words, it's
I
like a.
think it's a type of web service.
I don't mean okay.
And it's not something Aaron does. It's a specific type of
It's
a
a
web
protocol.
service.
It's part of a protocol.
I'm
Because
assuming.
at work, no, because we have a document that's got web services information and API and all that kind of thing, and we have like a stateful versus stateless. And when you had, and I think REST and RESTful are something that I recall seeing in that document, but you know.
You probably have something similar so that people
Okay.
can interact with your service programmatically.
Yes, that's correct. Without going, you don't have to have our UI. You can just grab our information and pipe it into yours.
Then I'm sure you run some type of a RESTful web service.
Yeah, we
with,
do.
with your
Okay.
information.
All right, thanks.
Anyway, so here's what I did. I constructed a little script to do this for me. And I used XML lint to grab it because you can curl the data down, get the data down, but when you did those things, you would be presented. If you've ever looked at XML data presented to you by curl or get, it's not pretty. So I used XML lint, and then I would use XML lint -- format, and then the URL for the Aaron Who Is web service. So it would be http://whois.arin.net/rest/IP and then / the IP I want to get the information for. So then it would give me that back, and XML lint will show you the XML that is sent back to the web browser that the web browser then would use to assemble the page. But it shows it to you in a nice parsable format. So what I did then was grepped out. I used grep-uppercase E, Mary.
All right.
Because I grepped out I wanted to use the, I think it's called a tensionator, or I can't remember what it's called.
The attentionator?
It's when it's the pipe symbol, but in a
Oh.
regex, it's not. It doesn't do what pipe does.
Okay.
It says find this or this.
So it's like an OR operator?
Yes, it's like an OR operator.
Okay.
So I wanted to find both the start address and the CIDR length, because those are the two values that the XML gives you back, that it would then, when it assembles as a web page, make the CIDR address. Tony,
Okay.
you want to explain for us what a CIDR address is? Mr. New Networking guy, come on.
It's been a long time. It's
That's code
I
for.
can't
I don't know what the heck
it
it is.
I know what it is. I don't know how to tell people what it is, though.
remind me.
It's what a CIDR is a way to say a network range. You say,
Oh yeah, what it is? You can have multiple subnets, or you take one network range and subnet it out. Well, the CIDR is all those ranges combined into one.
yeah, it's what it is it's a way to say a network range. Like you can say 192.240.168.0/20, and that 0/20 as the last octet says that we're using everything from this .0 address all the way up to a /20, which is, I don't know how many IP addresses down the road.
Right.
It's quite a few.
CIDR stands for classless interdomain routing.
Right.
SIDR.
There you go.
CIDR.
Or CIDR, that's right.
So anyway, so I grabbed out the start address and the CIDR length. But the thing about the XML file is it's like any program source code where you have white space at the leading lines because indentation matters. So you needed to strip that out. So I used sed to do that. and I'm not going to give you the long said,
Command.
yeah. But so then that grep is then piped to the said
He said.
said stream editor. But anyway, I then piped it to said to remove all the white space from the beginning of the lines. And then I piped it to unique so that it would only show me one unique line for each entrance, because for some reason they have start address twice. They give it back to you twice. So then after seat unique, I had to actually run it through a sort-R, because for some reason in the source code that it's in the XML that it sends you back, the CIDR length is before the start address.
Oh.
So unless you flip them around, you'll have problems later. So I needed to use sort-R to flip them around. And then I sent it to awk twice in a row.
Because once was just not enough?
Exactly.
I'm sorry, did I throw you off?
No, my KDE was being a pain in my butt. It kept popping up the thing to open the wallet, and I have no idea why.
Well, you can turn off that wallet subsystem.
I don't. I use it all the time.
Okay. I must have been trying to access something that required some authentication.
But, so no, just to get down to the right data. So I ran it through awk twice. I could probably break it down to one awk statement, but it's not worth it to me to try and figure out how. So
maybe our listeners can help.
No. Maybe if this ever gets posted online, it will get posted online before the show airs, hopefully. And if you then want to look at my statement and can improve it, please do. And then I used paste to assemble those two lines together. I used paste dash dash because each dash signifies a line. So if you want to paste every two lines of a file together, you would say dash dash. And then every two lines it's going to put together into one line through the whole file. Like if you want to do 3 lines, you would say dash dash dash. But it's only 2 lines long. So I'm assembling the 2 lines, and then it tells you what, and then you can say with a dash D what you want to use as the delimiter.
Wow.
What I want to put between those lines that it's now assembling for me. So I want to put a slash. So it's paste dash 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 D slash, and it'll assemble the 2 lines with a slash in between them.
Oh, just like the CIDR notation
exactly.
should be. Yeah, the IP address and the CIDR note.
Yep. Because what it is it's got your start address, and then a slash, and then the CIDR length.
Yeah.
So.
You know why I blanked on CIDR notation?
Go ahead.
CIDR? It's
You were
because
nervous?
that's just how I always use it. I forgot that it was called CIDR. So when you're subnetting, you can break down, a range. So there's classless or classful means you got like class A, class B, class C, and you're using the entire range for that class in your IP subnet. Well, classless means you can break those up into smaller bits or smaller sections, and you can take, and the way you notate that is you can do like /25.
Yeah,
and that's
/6.
Yeah, or /6, right? And /6 is huge.
Yeah, really huge.
It's like 10 dot something.
It's like almost the entire network.
Yeah, it's not even 10. But anyway, so that's what the slash and then number after is how many bits are in the subnet mask. It takes lots of math, or you just memorize what they all mean.
Or you use an online CIDR thing like I do all the time.
The CIDR calculator?
Yeah, but I don't have to do that anymore. Because what I would do would be, I would have to go to, for every address I needed to get the CIDR for, I would have to go to Aaron, or go to do a whois, find the start and end address range. Then I have an online converter that if you give it a range, it'll tell you the CIDR. So,
all right.
Now I don't know. I no longer have to do that. Aaron will tell me what the CIDR is, what range that belongs to.
Excellent.
And that's my tool tip. Aaron has a parsable interface.
I I was amazed when I heard that. No, I'm sure for somebody who has a need for that or works with that, they'll be very happy to get that information. So Matt, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right,
Okay.
we are going on to
It's listener feedback time.
our listener feedback. And we have to go way back to the day after our last show.
Mm-hmm.
And our friend Jonathan Nadu sent us an email. He says he wants to announce the release of Sonar 14.1 or 2014.1, um, which has moved from being based off of Ubuntu to now being based off of Manjaro Linux. And this is the first release using Manjaro as its base.
Did he say? Did he say why he did that? I mean, move from
I heard him
Ubuntu
talking
to.
on another podcast, and he said that Manjaro has a better build system to be able to
Okay.
customize.
Okay.
And the Manjaro developers are very responsive to his questions,
Ah.
where he wasn't getting far with some of the Ubuntu stuff that he was using.
Okay.
Um, and it's saying that it uses GNOME as the default desktop, but it'll be releasing a mate version in a few weeks.
Mate.
Yeah, Mate.
Don't feel bad. I was listening to the BSD Now podcast, and they've added Mate and Cinnamon as possible desktops that you can select options. And Chris Moore, who is the PCBSD guy, he called it Mate. So I laughed.
So he says it comes with 3.12, GNOME 3.12. There's the Orca screen reader for blind users. It has
I've
the
used that. I mean, just to
screen.
test it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really pretty interesting because what you'll do, it will. I think you can set it up so that it will tell you where it is. And if I remember correctly, too, I think you can type things, or it will also read typed information.
Like what you type out. Or it'll
Yeah,
read you the
or
screen
it
that's
will
typed
read
out.
you information if you had opened a file or something along that
Oh.
line. I can recall using a tool that did that, and I thought it was Orca.
Okay.
I could
Yeah,
be
that sounds
wrong,
right.
but
Yeah, Orca's the big one for Linux. But there's also a screen magnification for low vision users. And I know the big reason they went to GNOME 3 is because of that screen magnification. It's really easy to integrate.
oh, okay,
Um,
it's available in GNOME 3.
yeah.
I've seen that.
There's on-screen
Mhm.
keyboards for people with low motor skills. And there's eye and head tracking software to move the cursor around with
Really?
using a webcam. Yeah, that's really cool.
I
So
should, what I should do as a review is just, is just install it and review it in that fashion,
yeah,
just to see how it works. And if you're talking about something that you're going to move with your head, as far as a cursor on screen, it would be very interesting to me to see to see that in action and to find out how precise it is, that type of thing.
I think it's a great idea. I think either the week before, week after, we should have them on to talk a little bit about it. Maybe the week after, or the show after,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
the same one.
I think so. I'm gonna do some looking. I've got a distro identified for the review and for my next review, which is next episode. But I'll do some research on this one, and I think I'll definitely look into that. I think it'd be an interesting review because again it's a little bit off the ordinary.
Right.
There's so many distros that are based on Ubuntu that some of them are just respin, so it's boring. But
Yeah.
this one definitely would not be boring.
Exactly. Yeah, and he says it's far from this is the best one they have had so far.
Okay.
And he's pretty excited about getting it out there.
Yeah, it sounds like it's got a full palette of tools.
Yeah.
Which, if you've got certain limitations, it sounds to me like they're really mitigated by the tools that are available on that distro.
Yeah.
So very good.
And
Kudos to him.
his website is sonargnulinux.com. So notes will be in the show note, the link will be in the show notes.
Well, hopefully our notes will be in the show notes.
Right.
I already put mine in, Tony.
Ooh,
I'm
all
trying
right.
to. I felt bad about last episode because I was a little lazy on it. And when somebody emailed us, I just thought, oh my gosh. Because I think it was about the two distros I did, Void Linux, and then the one that I have banished from my mind because it was so I couldn't. It was like a piece of gum on my sole of my shoe. I couldn't get it off my computer.
Oh
Oh,
no,
that was Queen or Quine.
Quine.
All right.
All right. So other feedback, we've had quite a few comments about our release party.
I
I
think people are in Europe and they can't
yeah.
make it. Come on, you
Dang it!
guys.
Come on, yeah.
Come on. We're
And
talking
you call
beer,
yourself
beer and
listeners.
software. Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. I completely understand.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah. So, but that's still on, and we'll be out there on is it the 20th of August?
Yeah, the 20th. That'll
20th.
be just a few days before our next show,
Yeah.
um, which is a week and a half from now.
We should have some good stories then.
Yeah.
How one of us fell into the vat.
Yeah, before our show. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
something
well,
like
don't they
that.
have an event this weekend too that's going to be like so they can get ready for the massive crowds we draw for our event?
Yes, the Detroit Lions. They've got an event there at Atwater Brewery. And speaking of that, I'm going. I think I said I'm going to the game tonight.
No, you didn't.
Yes, the preseason game. You know, Johnny Football. That's that guy from that Texas college that the Cleveland Browns selected as number one.
Yes.
Yeah, Manziel, Johnny Manziel. They call him Johnny Football. So I'm going to the game tonight. But anyway, yeah, the Lions are hosting an event down at Atwater Brewery, and yeah,
Is it? I did.
it's
Is
a
it going to
Bruin
be
not Bruin Bacon. It's Bruin Barbecue or
right?
something.
Is it going to be at Atwater
Yeah,
though?
at Atwater Brewery.
Who's
Yeah.
coming in to do the food, and how are they doing that?
I'm sure they'll have a caterer. They won't have Happy's Pizza like we did.
Because Atwater Brewery doesn't have food.
Yeah, they don't have
Right.
food. So what we'll do, we'll
They
figure
allow
something
they
out.
allow caterers because I was there
Yeah.
one time and they had a full catered birthday party.
Because they're selling beer, and if that's what it takes to get people in there, then they'll
Well,
do
they're
it,
actually
you know?
brewing beer. It's kind of just like a
Oh,
little bar area and a couple of tables set up
Very
in
rustic.
the actual brewery.
That's right.
Yeah. Yes, you are sitting.
Because if you're there when the vat is done, you get to witness and smell the removal of the dregs.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. I
You
saw
know that
that and I
smell?
thought you could make like little loaves of something out of that.
Yeah. Oh.
It wouldn't be very palatable, I don't think.
No, it wouldn't. But it'd be moist. All right.
All right.
Tony, I think we hijacked your.
Listener feedback.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Well, continuing on, we have comment on our last show, and it's
Can we
it's
can we
a
read it?
Google Plus comment.
Okay. Can we read
Is
it out loud?
that one from
think so.
Julian and Frank or
No, it's from James Evan. He says that he'd like to correct us on regarding the detective series in Africa.
Oh yes,
we
and-
appreciate
yeah,
that.
we did. That was
Yeah.
excellent correction there, James.
Yeah, and it's called The Number One Ladies Detective Agency by Alexander McCall Smith, and it's set in Botswana.
I think that was the first mistake we've ever had.
Yeah.
I believe it was the only mistake we've ever had.
Yeah, but we
That's
thank
right.
James for letting us know about it.
But
It
he
won't
says,
happen again.
saying Nigeria is kind of like saying Detroit's the capital of Colombia.
Oh.
So it's
Well, that-
Botswana.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that doesn't match at all.
Not
No.
at all.
All right.
All right.
And I don't know. I had to step out for a second, so I don't know.
We
Did we-
didn't tell anybody that you had left the house. You left the room.
Did you do the Julian and Frank?
We referred to it, but we didn't talk about it.
Okay, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, just that they're out of the country and they're not going to make it.
Okay. Did you talk about Claudio?
Not yet. I was going
Oh.
to leave that for you.
All right.
Claudio M.
Yes. Claudio M., friend of the show,
That's right.
He
And fellow
said-
podcaster, I think, right?
that he is a fellow podcaster, yes. He says he just listened to the show Sysadmin episode, and he agrees that Fortnite is too
Awkward.
awkward.
Just doesn't flow.
It doesn't flow.
Yeah.
So we asked for suggestions a while ago,
Yes, we did.
and we got a couple, some of which we could air, and and we did air those, and
He says he likes my suggestion of a twist on the Batman
Yes,
outro.
yes. So we're actually going to go with that this time, and
And
let us know what you think. If you like it, we'll keep it. If you don't, we'll try something new. But Fortnite just really bugged the shit out of me.
right.
I mean, I think it was technically accurate, and but it didn't flow.
It didn't flow at all.
No. But we appreciate our listener who suggested it, and we used it for quite a while.
Yes,
Actually.
yes. Because it was the only I couldn't think of a good way, and that
Yeah.
user came up with Fortnite,
And that worked.
and
for
I
us.
used it because it was technically accurate and it worked, but it just didn't flow. So, Claudio, we're gonna give yours a shot.
Same
It's
Matt
actually
time,
Tony's, and Claudio voted for it, but
same Matt time, same Matt station.
yes,
It's all about Matt.
all about Matt. Always, don't forget it.
All right, I like it too. I thought it was great.
Yeah. Let's see. Mike had a question, and that was directed at Mary. He was asking about links for the Linux distros.
Oh yeah, that's the one that shamed me into posting the show notes immediately after I got that email.
Yeah.
Yes, as a matter of fact, that was Mike, right?
Yeah, that was
Mhm.
Mike.
Mike, I want you to know that I have already posted this show's show notes. They're up there. So
I have not, and they're not even written yet, but I will post them. I am good about
Yeah.
that. Is if I have a segment where I need show notes, I post them. Except I stopped posting news stuff, I guess. Is
Well,
news?
that's all
Go
right. We got
find it.
news. We got news. We got a lot of interesting news today. I threw those up there.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway. So
And the best listener feedback was not just an email. He shipped it to
Oh
us.
yes,
oh
shipped it to us.
Yep.
yes,
Yes.
I have to say that I am feeling a little toasty around the edges.
Are you?
Yes, this is very good. This is the Carolina Brewing Company Pale Ale. This is very good.
It was good. It was a good pale ale. I would drink
Mhm.
this again. It's not like I would say, well, I'm not drinking, but no, I would drink Carolina even if I had to pay for it. I would drink. I would drink the Carolina Pale Ale
Mhm.
again.
Oh yeah.
But Mary, I should have saved you some, but it was too good, and I just had to drink it all. This hop drop and roll
Okay.
was incredible. And Brent, if you can send more, send more.
Matt will pay for them. So
If you maybe talk to them, and we'll advertise for their show or
Yeah.
something, but we definitely need more hop drop and roll.
Yeah.
and so what
We
the
will
deal
only
is-
charge 3 hop drop and rolls per episode.
There you go.
And the whole thing with the pale ale or IPA, India Pale Ale, just
Yes.
to be
As
technically
opposed
correct.
to just a
It's
pale
what?
ale.
Bitter?
It's
It's
the
bitter?
hops. It's got more hops.
More bitter?
So it's a little more bitter. The IBU in it is a little higher, you would generally expect.
And you notice how close the word bitter is to the German word for beer, bitte?
Bitte is thank you in German.
I thought that was beer. Ein Bier, bitte. Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, my God. I had a great joke, and now it's been
no
ruined.
good.
It's been ruined by me. Ein Bier, bitte. That's right, it is. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt. I am so embarrassed. I'm not going to say
I
anything
did have
more.
German for 4 years in high school. One of
I
the
had
things I do
Spanish
remember is thank you.
in college.
But anyway, excellent, Brent.
Good beer. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much. And Tony, how was yours?
It was all right. I had the Gaelic Ale.
And
I'm
now
more of a
he's speaking
lager
with an Irish
and
brogue.
port. I'm more of a lager and part kind of guy.
Lager
so,
and port.
I'm waiting
Yeah,
for you to.
port.
I'm waiting for you to wear a kilt.
Right.
Actually, Scottish ale. Actually, I thought kind of sucked. Tony, you would probably like it. Oscar Blues makes this one called Old Chub, and it's a Scottish ale, and it was just
It sounds
way
like a Scotch.
too bready from. It was just,
That may sound good. Yeah. Try it out. No, but yeah, it was still good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm going to Scotland.
And that was
year.
Are you again?
Yeah, next year. Scotland.
I thought
Yeah.
you've been to Scotland in the past.
Yeah, can I go back?
Yeah, that's what I said again, and you said no Scotland, and I'm
Oh,
like,
I'm sorry. Well, see, I believe that I've been cut off at the bar.
Okay.
all right. Speaking of being cut off,
All right.
and we have Matt you promised you were going to get some music for us.
And don't sing.
Matt fell down on his ass.
All right. Well,
all 2 weeks, I'm like, man, I got to email Craig. Craig is a friend of ours, and
Oh yeah.
Craig
Yeah.
Maloney.
Yeah.
Podcast.
he does a metal podcast,
Yeah.
Open Metal Cast.
Yeah.
Which, if you're into metal, check it out. Open Metal Cast, good show. But I kept saying, oh, I've got to email Craig. And I just the time.
You know, I talked to him on last Tuesday. I told him that you're going to email.
So
And you know what his response was?
Yeah.
sure.
Any song in my show will do. So, but because you didn't
I
do
thought
it, I found one for it's like a blues song.
Was it in his podcast?
No.
Yeah.
No,
so. We're
'cause-
not going to use the random number generator and 9 Inch Nails.
We're gonna use it's called it's by Dickie F, which I've played one of his songs in the past, and this is called February Blues.
Sounds heavy metal.
Please.
I'm digging it.
Yeah, you're the only one, Mary.
No, Tony's strumming his air guitar.
Yeah,
Однажды я спросил маму, почему так ласково светит солнце, хотя на улице ниже нуля. Однажды я спросил маму, ну почему так ласково светит солнце.
It's not in English.
Really, Tony? I thought I was just inebriated.
I think he's Russian, although it's not telling me on this page I'm on right now.
So you're telling us that that's not going to be our outro song?
No, that's gonna be it.
Oh, okay.
And then when Matt figures out what song he wants to do for the next show, then we'll play it.
I will email Craig today.
All right.
All right.
All right. So we're coming to the end of the show. Oh, and our Bender sound thing is not working right now. I'll have to paste it in from an edit and post.
All right.
But anyway, so you've been listening to the Sunday Morning Linux Review. This was episode 132.
Bruise.
Good Bruise.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Good.
Brent.
Thank you, Brent.
I reached my limit.
This is Tony Bemis.
Matt Enders
And Mary Tomich.
saying, have a good week. See you next week. Same Matt time, same Matt channel.
See you next week.
Let's do that again, Tony.
You were so excited that you just did it.
I was.
All right.
All right, so this is Tony Bemis.
And Matt Enders
And Mary Tomich.
saying, see you next time. Same Matt time, same Matt channel.
Oh, you almost didn't get that
I
one out
almost
either?
did, but I got it.
All right. It's a wrap.
All right.
It's a wrap. Great. That
All
was
right.
a good show.
Yeah.
I recommend
goodbye.
that we drink a little beer before all of our shows.
I'm
Yeah.
with that 100%.
Hey, we have 3 viewers right now.
All right. 3
Say
viewers.
thank you.
All right,
and
thank
then,
you.
Carolina Pale Ale.
It was good.
Hop, drop, and roll.
That one. That's Matt's favorite.
New favorite Pale Ale. Right there.
Yeah.
I like the artwork on it. I mean, it's got that old. Is that a Chevy Impala? No. Yeah, it's an old. Is that a Buick?
I don't know. I don't think it's
It only
recognizable.
goes. Yeah, it only goes that far. But
Yeah, I don't think it's meant to be recognizable, I think.
okay.
Anyway. Oh, and then we had 3 listeners also on our Icecast.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.